Welcome to Cosmic Adventures. I'm Liz.
And I'm Sarah, and today we're going to talk about animals. But because this is an astronomy show, we're not going to talk about animals on the ground. That's really boring. We're going to talk about animals in space.
Pigs in space!
What was that?
I don't really know.
Ghost.
Okay, why would anyone want to actually send animals to space?
I do not know the answer to that question, but I think the better question is, doesn't every kindergarten chimp grow up wanting to be an astronaut?
They probably wouldn't if they knew the stories we were about to tell.
Not if they were smart, because before space agencies were comfortable sending really dashing young men into orbit, they wanted to make sure they were not irradiated into oblivion or spontaneously losing all their muscle mass. And they also needed to ensure technology was safe before sticking somebody's father into the nose cone of a rocket.
Makes sense. So NASA and other organizations did what humans always do when we want to make sure our inventions won't kill us. They tested them on large mammals.
We're going to try really hard not to make this a sad story, but really, it is.
Yeah. An array of different animals has gone into space. The first to head into the unknown were fruit flies in 1947, used to test radiation exposure. Perhaps the most well-known examples of animals in space, though, are primates and dogs.
And as you may or may not be aware, primates and dogs are much more human-like than fruit flies are. 36 monkeys and chimps and almost 50 dogs have been launched into space. All kinds of other animals, though, have also taken their own trips. Cats, rats, mice, rabbits, guinea pigs, spiders, wasps, bees.
Butterflies, beetles, cockroaches, ants, water bears, scorpions, shrimp, fish, sea urchins, tortoises, frogs, and newts. It's a lot of creatures.
It is like a whole Noah's Ark of creatures. And because I understand math so well, I can say definitively that we have sent more animals than humans into space.
Yep, that is certainly the truth. And one of the most well-known creatures on that list was Laika, a stray dog who was the first living animal to orbit Earth. This 13-pound terrier mutt made history November 3rd, 1957, when Soviet scientists launched her inside Sputnik 2. The craft was about the size of a beach ball. Just after launch, they announced the mission was a one-way trip, meaning Laika was not going to live long and prosper. Like that.
Like that. Apparently, they neglected to inform the public about that important piece of info, though.
Neither of us are very big fans of this piece of history. Both my Kara and Sarah's Riva were stray dogs before we adopted them.
But now we're going to lift this up a little bit and talk about a creature that survived. My personal favorite ape, for instance, is Ham the chimp. NASA trained him using positive reinforcement with banana pellets, yum, and negative reinforcement of electric shocks, which also would work pretty well on me, to pull levers. Then they put him in a Mercury capsule, put that on top of a Redstone rocket, and made him pull levers in space to prove that mammals could perform tasks in space where tasks are totally different.
Obviously, scientists now know that people can survive for a few days in a capsule orbiting Earth. So instead, they now send smaller animals up to learn how space things, like microgravity, affect the body. No, they didn't actually launch the frog in this picture. But scientists have sent Japanese tree frogs up, and it turns out that the creatures hold odd positions while in space.
Like what?
Like keeping
cow.
their heads bent backwards while perched on surfaces. Something like that.
I can see that.
Apparently it has something to do with motion sickness.
I don't really see the connection, but I'm going to take your word for it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. They have a paper. I could read it.
Okay. I won't, but you should.
Okay.
Okay, another example of animals in space. I'm not sure if you're familiar with these things called water bears. They're technically called tardigrades, and they're microscopic and have 8 legs, just like, bears.
No.
Yes. So scientists exposed these sci-fi animals to the vacuum and the radiation of space, and then they didn't all die. So biologists hope to determine how tardigrades protect themselves from shriveling up and dying of radiation poisoning, so that we can somehow replicate that scenario for our astronauts who also would prefer not to shrivel up and die.
Yeah, good idea. I think we should throw a party honoring all the creatures that have sacrificed themselves for the goal of humans traveling to, and perhaps one day surviving, in space. We could hold it at a zoo.
I don't know. I don't know if that sounds like a fun party, and it seems a little bit late for something like that, given that dead animals have a hard time attending parties. Instead, perhaps a better remembrance would be to talk about how crucial these early animal launches were to space exploration and rocket technology.
All right, fair enough. For the next episode, we're going to try to talk about something a little bit happier, I hope.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Okay.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
9, 8,
Oh, God.
Oh no, wait. Is this happening again?
They told us it wouldn't happen again.
This, I don't want to go.
Clearly, I'm not very good at acting.
Pretending to be sent into space has never been my strong suit.
I'm like, no!